All right, and now it should show up in a couple of seconds. On your screen, you're going to see advanced class number 4, review, using the verb to be in the past tense, using the verb to be in the past tense in negative form, and using the verb to be in the past tense in question form. And that's what we did last time. So I started the last class giving you the verb to be in the past tense and giving you the present and the past next to each other so you can see the difference between the two. So we have I am, I was, he is, he was, it is, it was, you are, you were. We have it in plural, you are, you were, she is, she was, we are, we were, they are, they were. Then I gave you some practice problems, and with those practice problems, I gave you some sentences for us to go through. So I'm going to give you those sentences again really quickly, and then we'll move on. So the first one was, she was a student of English. Number 2 was, they were close friends of mine. Number 3, he was a great surgeon. Number 4, I was a resident of this country. And number 5, you were responsible students. So I gave you those 5 problems, and then I gave you the answer, which uses all the verb to be in the past with was and were, was being used third person singular, and were being used for everything else. After that, we looked at the verb to be in the past tense and in the negative form. The verb to be in the past tense and in the negative form. So here, this is what I gave you. I was not. He was not. It was not. You were not. Again, plural. You were not. She was not. We were not. And they were not. I gave you 5 sentences again, and then we changed them to the past, which is only adding not after the verb to be. So that's the same as last time, so I'll read them again. She was not a student of English. They were not close friends of mine. He was not a great surgeon. I was not a resident of this country. And you were not responsible students. So those were the 5 sentences that I gave you. Again, the verb to be in the past, was for third person singular, were for everything else. You also use was for I, and then not after the verb to be in order to make it negative. And then the last thing that I gave you, the last part of the review, is we worked with the verb to be in the past tense and in the negative form, but this time with contractions. I was not, I wasn't. He was not, he wasn't. It was not, it wasn't. You were not, you weren't. You were not, you weren't in the plural. She was not, she wasn't. We were not, we weren't. And they were not, they weren't. All right. So then I gave you the 5 sentences again. And then I gave you the 5 sentences in the past with the negative form and a contraction, right? So I'll give those to you again. The first one was, she wasn't a student of English. She wasn't a student of English. They weren't close friends of mine. He wasn't a great surgeon. I wasn't a resident of this country. and you weren't responsible student. So there you have it. So you have it there in the past, negative with a contraction. So that was last week's class. Now we can move on to this week. And what we're going to be working on tonight, we have 4 items that we're going to work on tonight. So for advanced class number 4, we're going to work with the present continuous tense. The present continuous tense in negative, in question form, and in the past. Okay, so those are the 4 things that we're going to do today. Present continuous tense, the present continuous tense in negative form, the present continuous tense in question form, and the present continuous tense in the past. I will start by giving you 5 sentences again that we're going to be working with in the first half of today's lesson. And all 5 sentences are in the present continuous tense. This part, I want you guys to let me know if there's any vocabulary that you need, anything you don't understand. Number 1, the ballerinas are dancing on the stage. Number 2, the sun is beginning to shine brightly. Number 3, the English students are working very hard. Number 4, the teachers are preparing their lessons. Number 5, the parents are looking for their children. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to leave these up there. Some people might be copying these. You're going to see them throughout the first half of the lesson. So you're going to get to see them anyways. But if you're copying now, you'll have some time. I'll also wait to hear for some, if there's any questions. I can translate them in Spanish if you want me to. I can give you vocabulary for certain words if you want me to. I can also give you pronunciation if you want me to pronounce anything again. But take a look at all 5 sentences and let me know if you have any specific or particular questions for me. Okay. As I wait to see some questions, I'll read them one more time because I'm sure that someone or a few of you are copying. The ballerinas are dancing on the stage. The sun is beginning to shine brightly. The English students are working very hard. The teachers are preparing their lessons. The parents are looking for their children. Okay. So I haven't seen any questions yet, so I'm taking that to mean that everybody is okay. And with that, I'm going to move on to the next slide. The next slide is going to show the 5 sentences. In case you haven't finished copying, you do have that opportunity, so don't worry. Okay. Moving on to the next slide, we are going to look at these sentences in the present continuous tense, but this time in negative form. So we're going to make all of these negative, right? So how can we make them negative? What can we do to make these 5 sentences that are in the present continuous negative? Well, you know the answer already because we've done it in the past. You find the verb to be and you add the word not between, well, after the verb to be or between the verb to be and the main verb, which is in ing form. Okay. So for example, number 1, the ballerinas are dancing on the stage. I'm going to do them with contractions, and it is okay if you use contractions. So for example, I'm doing it with contractions because we already practiced with contractions, right? So there's number 1, the ballerinas aren't dancing on the stage. So yeah, contractions are okay. Valentina, I'm going to rewrite your question so that you can see how to write it correctly. You're just missing the word it. Is it okay if I use, I'm going to put contractions all the time? That's how you would ask that question. And the answer to that question is yes. Yes, you can use contractions for all of them. All right, so Mariana, that answer is correct. The ballerinas are not dancing on the stage, and you can do it with a contraction as well. So I'll move on to number 2. The sun is beginning to shine brightly. If you want, you can put the answer on the chat, or it's going to come up on the screen shortly. You can write it in your notebooks. I think this is rather easy because we've worked on this already a little bit. It's just now is the continuous tense. So I'm not going to spend too much time with this because we've kind of done it already. Number 2, the sun isn't beginning to shine brightly. The sun isn't beginning to shine brightly. So simply enough, you put not after is and you do a contraction. Isn't beginning to shine brightly. Okay? If you have any questions, let me know. If you want me to slow down, let me know. I see someone is giving us the answer for number 3. The English students are working very hard. And then we have the English students are not working very hard with a contraction right there. The English students aren't working very hard is good as well. Okay. Very good. So you find the verb to be, you add not at the end of the verb to be or after the verb to be, and you can do a contraction because we all learned how to do a contraction. Number 4, looking at number 4, the teachers are preparing their lessons. So to make this negative, you add not after the verb to be, and you can do a contraction. And as you're writing your answers or typing them in, I'm going to let you see the answer on the screen. And there's your answer. The teachers aren't preparing their lessons. The teachers aren't preparing their lessons. Okay, you add not after the verb to be and you do a contraction. And number 5. Number 5, the parents are looking for their children. The parents are looking for their children. Add not after are. Do a contraction. Answer in the negative. The parents aren't looking for their children. The parents aren't looking for their children. So I'll stop for a moment. I'll answer questions. I'll let you copy if you're copying these in your notebooks, which it's a very good idea to copy these. It's always good to have a lot of examples for you to read through. And even though you can take a picture of the screen, it's very good to copy. I always like copying. I feel like you retain or you remember the lesson a lot better if you copy. If you copy it down by hand in your notebook. I'll read it one time while I wait for questions. The ballerinas aren't dancing on the stage. The sun isn't beginning to shine brightly. The English students aren't working very hard. The teachers aren't preparing their lessons. The parents aren't looking for their children. Okay. I'm looking at the chat. I don't see any questions. So I'll take that to mean that everybody's okay. I will give you about 1 more minute to copy if you are copying. Okay, and we are looking at the present continuous tense in the negative form. And because we already practiced doing contractions in the negative form, they're all with contractions because we know that already. We kind of know these things already. The other thing that you want to recognize is we're using are with plural. We're using is for third person singular. So the sun is, or the sun isn't, that's a third person singular, it. Everything else is plural. The ballerinas, the English students, the teachers, and the parents. They're all plural. Okay. All right. So I'm going to move on to the next slide. If you weren't done, let me know. I can always go back. But I will move on to the next slide. And in the next slide, we are going to look at the present continuous tense in question form. The present continuous tense in question form. So we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to change these into a question. And before I give you the first answer, I'm going to ask that someone provide the answer in somebody provide the answer in the chat for number one. So I want someone to show me what number one would be as a question. And you know it already because we did this last time. So last time when we worked with the present tense with the verb to be, we did questions. You follow the same rule. It's exactly the same rule as last time. Okay? So you're going to follow exactly the same rule that you followed last time in order to give me number one as a question. And I want to see someone put it on the chat, provide it for us on the chat. If you can, that would be good. So I do have one answer there that I just saw came in. That answer is correct. That answer is right. You take the verb to be and you move it to the beginning of the sentence and you add a question mark at the end. And if you do that, then you have just converted the sentence into a question. So the answer is, are the ballerinas dancing on the stage? Are the ballerinas dancing on the stage? If you're going to do number two, you find the verb to be, you move it to the beginning, you add a question mark at the end, right? So if you do that, what's the question going to be? I'll give you guys a second in case anybody wants to give it to us. And then I'm going to show it on the screen. You take the verb to be, you put it in the beginning, you add a question mark at the end, you have a question. Okay? The answer is coming up on your screen momentarily, meaning shortly. And the answer for number two, is the sun beginning to shine brightly? Okay. If I'm going too fast, let me know. If you have a question, let me know. If you need vocabulary, if you don't understand something, if you need me to explain something, just send me a message and I will do that. If I don't see anything, my understanding is that you guys are okay. I'm going to move on to number three. The English students are working very hard. You find the verb to be, you move it to the beginning, you add a question mark at the end, and you have your question. And that's going to come up on the screen momentarily. And the answer is, are the English students working very hard? Are the English students working very hard? All right. Now I'm going to be moving on to number four. The teachers are preparing their lessons. The teachers are preparing their lessons. Find the verb to be, put it in the beginning, add a question mark at the end, and you've converted or changed the sentence to a question. And the question is, are the teachers preparing their lessons? Are the teachers preparing their lessons? And then we do number 5. The parents are looking for their children. The parents are looking for their children. I saw an answer come in. That answer is correct for the previous one. Good. And for number 5, take the verb to be, place it in the beginning, add a question mark at the end, and you're going to change it to a question. See another answer there for number 1. Good. And the answer for number 5, are the parents looking for their children? All right. So I'm going to stop here for a second. I'm going to ask a couple questions on the chat, and I want to see some responses from you guys because I want to make sure that everybody is with me. That gives you a chance to copy the answers and to ask me additional questions if you have questions for me. So the first question I'm going to ask, does everyone understand the present continuous tense? And I want you to answer. You can give me a yes, you can give me a no, you can give me a little bit. All right. We also have some pictures there. So if you want to send a picture, you can send a thumbs up. Right. So if you understand it, you can send a thumbs up to let me know yes. Or you can send a smiley face and you can say, yeah, I got it. Right. So whatever you want, if you understand it, let me know. If you need me to explain the present continuous tense, please let me know, because we are going to move on. This is class number 4 in the advanced, so it's still more like intermediate than really advanced. But I have to make sure that you guys know these basics before I move on to the advanced and get into the more difficult stuff, because I don't want to lose people in the advanced. Okay, so I do see that a lot of people are saying yes. So you know the present continuous tense, you know what it means, so I don't have to really explain it too much. So that's good. And then if you're having trouble with it, I mean, definitely take the other classes as well. So we got the intermediate. That's probably gonna, we're gonna look more into it a lot slower. We're not gonna go so fast in that class. All right. So since everybody's okay, we are going to move on to the past continuous tense. You guys know it already because we did past in the present tense. So it's exactly the same thing when you do the past continuous tense. So here, but these are new sentences though. So look at the sentences and make sure that you know the vocabulary and that you understand them, that you don't have any specific questions and things like that. So here we go. Number 1, the baseball players were dancing on the field. The baseball players were dancing on the field. Maybe they won the game. Maybe they won. They were happy. They were dancing on the field, right? The field is where they play. Number 2, the clouds were beginning to separate. The clouds in the sky, the clouds were beginning to separate. That's number 2. The band was taking a short break. That's number 3. The director was evaluating the teacher. That's number 4. The children were asking for their parents. That's number 5. The band. Somebody tell me if there's a better word in Spanish. A band, una orquesta, would be a band like a musical band. Una orquesta. I don't know if there's a better word. No sé si hay una palabra mejor en español. But that's what a band is. Una orquesta. A musical band. And they were taking a short break. Right? Good. Good. Thank you for asking questions. If you have a question, please ask. Okay. That's what a band is. Una orquesta. All right. Keep copying. Una banda. I was gonna say banda, but then I didn't know if that was just like one of those words that we just we take from English and turn into Spanish, and it doesn't really exist. But I guess it does, because that's what I was gonna say first. Banda. You know, it's very close, right? Very close English Spanish. La banda o la orquesta. All right. So those are the sentences. If you're copying, don't worry, you're going to see them again. But I'm going to move on to the next slide. It has the sentences still. So if you are copying, you still have the opportunity to copy here. We're going to do the past continuous tense in negative. And most of you, I'm sure, already guessed. Simply, you're going to put the word not after the verb to be. And we are going to do contractions with it because we already know how to do contractions. So if we look at the baseball players were dancing on the field and we want to make it negative, we change were to were not, and we do a contraction and make it weren't. And then you have the past continuous tense in negative. The baseball players weren't dancing on the field. They weren't dancing on the field. So what about number 2? Can somebody give me number 2 in the chat? Let me see number 2 in the chat. If somebody can type it up real quick. So I want to make sure that everybody's with me, everybody understands. Simply enough, take the word not, put it after the verb to be, and do a contraction. So change the clouds were beginning to separate. Let's change it to negative. And with a contraction. Okay. So grab the word not, put it after the verb to be in the past, and do a contraction just the same way that we had a contraction in number 1. Similar to number 1. That's like a hint that I'm giving you. And I see an answer there. I see 2 answers there. Capitalize the T. And I'm also going to put my answer there. The clouds weren't beginning to separate. So I think you guys got it. I think we got it. I think we are okay. Number 3, the band was taking a short break. The band was taking a short break. Well, the band wasn't taking a short break. That's the negative. The band wasn't taking a short break. Number 4, the director was evaluating the teacher. The director was evaluating the teacher. Answer, the director wasn't evaluating the teacher. The director wasn't evaluating the teacher. And number 5, same as number 1 and number 2, the children were asking for their parents. The children were asking for their parents. And if you want to make that negative, you add not after were, and you do a contraction. The children weren't asking for their parents. So there you have it. There you have all the answers there. All you have to do is add not after the verb to be. You do a contraction, combining the verb to be and the word not. And there you have all your answers. I'll read them one time for pronunciation purposes, and that will give you the opportunity to copy if you are copying. The baseball players weren't dancing on the field. The clouds weren't beginning to separate. The band wasn't taking a short break. The director wasn't evaluating the teacher. the children weren't asking for their parents. Okay, so let me know if we have any questions, if you need me to leave it up a bit longer, because now we are going to move on to the last part where we're going to make questions with all of these. We're going to do some questions with all of these. All right. So we've done the present continuous tense today. We did it regular. We did it negative with contractions. And we did it as a question. Now we did the past continuous, regular, negative with contractions. And now we're going to do it as a question. Now we're going to move on to writing these as a question. All right, so now we're going to move on to the past continuous tense in question form. Good, good. I see a happy face, so that means that we are doing all right. I'm going to move on to the past continuous tense in question form. I will ask someone to give me the answer for number one. If you give me the answer for number one, then I am going to know that that we are understanding it really well, that we're doing well. I am going to put another question in the chat. I'm noticing that today the screen is, at least for me, has been very, very good. It's been very sharp. I want to see if it's the same for everyone. So I'm going to ask the question, has your picture been fuzzy or not clear today? So I'm going to ask that question. I noticed that that it's been pretty good. That has been pretty good. Yeah. All right. So let me answer two questions while I wait for the question there. The first thing, well, first I'm going to ask Diana to tell me what you want me to repeat. So ask me the question and I will repeat it. I'm not sure what you want me to repeat. Maybe you guys can just answer my question. I don't know if that's what you're asking. If your picture hasn't been really good, let me know. I'm just curious because mine has been actually excellent today. So I want to make sure that it's not just me, it's everybody. And then I'm going to answer Valentina's question. She says, I always say something like this. The children, it's no asking for their parents. No, you don't want it. It's. You don't want that because it is that's a subject. I mean, it's a pronoun, but it's used as a subject. And you already have the children. So you want the children is plural. So you want the children are. That's what you want. The children are not no, not. The children are not asking for their parents. That's how you want it. That would be correct. That's the correct way to say it. And then you can do the contraction. The children aren't asking for their parents. Okay, so that's the correct answer. I'm still waiting for somebody to give me the number one as a question. I want to see that. And I'm also waiting for some people to answer the question. How has your picture been today? Have you had a really good picture today? Kind of curious. I just want to know. I want to know how everybody's picture has been going today. I think audio or volume or audio has been really good. Everybody, for the most part, they have always been able to hear me. Only one time that you couldn't, but then once I restarted, you guys were okay. But the picture, we want to get the picture at 100% or as close to 100% as we can. So if it's been working for you really well today, please let us know so that we can take note of that it's been working better. Okay. So on the screen, we are looking for the past continuous tense in question form. We have the 5 sentences. I see an answer. That answer is correct. So you take the verb to be, you put it in the beginning, you add a question mark at the end, and you have the question, which is also going to go on the screen. And that question is, were the baseball players dancing on the field? That's the question. Were the baseball players dancing on the field? Okay. Number 2, the clouds were beginning to separate. If you want to ask a question, you take the word were, you put it in the beginning, you add a question mark at the end, and the question is, were the clouds beginning to separate? Were the clouds beginning to separate? Number 3, the band was taking a short break. What do we do? To make it a question? Take the verb to be, put it in the beginning, add a question mark at the end, and you have the answer. You have that sentence as a question. Was the band taking a short break? Was the band taking a short break? We're going to move on to number 4. The director was evaluating the teacher. The director was evaluating the teacher. And we are going to change that to a question. And we're going to ask, was the director evaluating the teacher? Okay, there it is. Was the director evaluating the teacher? Was the director evaluating the teacher? That's a question. And you have the last one. The children were asking for their parents. The children were asking for their parents. And the answer, you take were, you put it in the beginning, you add a question mark. Were the children asking for their parents? Were the children asking for their parents? So there you have it. The past continuous tense in question form, right? The past continuous tense in question form. You take the verb to be in the past, you put it in the beginning of the sentence, you add a question mark at the end, and then you've made questions, okay? Good. I'll give you a minute or two to copy. If you are copying, put these in your notebooks and practice these. If you feel very confident with them, the classes will be getting more difficult as we move along. If you are okay and you're somewhere in the middle, take the week to practice. We are going to be sending those videos out to you guys very shortly. Sometime by the end of this week, you should have them. You should have some of the videos, if not all, so that you can really go through everything. And you should have your notes. I mean, you really should have your notes so that you can really practice those. That way, if you need additional practice, you can use your notes, you can use the videos to get that extra practice so that we can move on. For those of you that have been with us for a while, and for everyone too, but you know, especially for those that have been there since the beginning, we are going to be doing some tests, some examinations, some quizzes. I'm just waiting to get enough material done. When I get enough material done, I'll give you guys some tests that you can take to see how you progress, to see how well you're understanding it. Okay, but those are coming. I just want to get enough material down. So give me like maybe within the next week or two, maybe we'll do an assessment to see how everybody is doing. All right, I hope everybody's had enough time to copy the questions. So I'm going to move on. And the next slide is going to give you your homework. So we are moving towards the end, but stay with me because I have a few things to show you. I do have a question that I'm going to respond, even though the homework is going to come on the screen. Let me see. Okay, good, good. So there's the homework. Copy the 8 sentences, and I'll go over it in a minute. But I do have a very good question. I have a question of the difference between where, que es donde, right? Where, and were, which is ser o estar en el pasado. Okay. So, where and were. Where. Another word that sounds exactly the same is to put on, like wearing clothes. I am wearing clothes. I'm wearing a jacket. Wear. It sounds exactly the same way. Another word that sounds like it, hair. Hair on your head. If you have hair on your head, hair, wear. Now, the other one, ser o estar, the verb to be, were. Not where, were. That's how you pronounce it. So one is where, donde, where, like hair, like cabello, like hair, where. And the other one, the verb to be, were. I'm going to write so in the chat, where sounds like hair. Where, hair. Right? Not like word, because word, palabras con de, word. Were sounds like el sonido que hace un gato en inglés. No sé si lo dicen igual en español, pero en inglés dicen purr. Purr. P-U-R-R. Purr. Así que suena word. Were, purr. Trying to think if there's any other words, but I would say were sounds like purr. Es el sonido que hace un gato en inglés. Purr, purr, were, purr. También los pelos de un animal se llama fur y también suena igual. So were sounds like fur. No sé la palabra en español para el pelo de un animal. No es piel, es pelo, como un gato or something like that, o un perro. Fur, you call it fur. So were sounds like fur, sounds like purr. Where sounds like hair or care. I care about you. Care, hair, where. Purr, fur, were. That's the difference between the two, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Okay, you're welcome. All right, so that's how you that's the difference between the two there. Homework. Find the errors in the following sentences. Find the errors in the following sentences. Then do the following. When you find the errors, you're going to rewrite the sentences correctly using the present continuous tense. I should change that. I'm going to change it right now with you guys. It says the present continuous tense. And then rewrite the sentences using the past continuous tense. I'm going to have you send me all of them. So you're going to send me 24 sentences because when you find the errors and you fix it, actually, no, you're actually only going to send me 16 sentences. So it's not 24, it's 16. First, you're going to fix it, right? So you're going to fix these. And then you're going to give it to me in the present when you fix it. And then you're going to give the same sentences in the past, okay? So it's only 16 sentences. What I'll do this time is you send me the homework, and I'm going to send you a document with the correct answers so that you can correct it, okay? So give me 16 sentences. As we go on, I think I'm going to start giving you guys a little more homework than what I'm giving you. I'm not giving you a lot because I don't want to scare you guys away. But eventually, you guys are going to be hooked. So then it won't matter how much homework I give you, hopefully. And then that way I can get you guys practicing more throughout the week. That's my hope, at least. So little by little, I'm giving you a little more homework every week because I want you guys to get a little bit more engaged and start getting more practice. So you're going to do 16 sentences for me. First, I'm going to give you, fix them, give it to me in the present continuous, then give it to me in the past. Does everybody understand? If you have any questions about the homework, please let me know. I want to make sure you understand it before you spend time working on it. So find the mistake, write it in the present continuous tense, then write it in the past continuous tense. Then send it to me as a homework, and I'm going to respond with a document that has all the correct answers so that you can check your work. I'm going to have you guys check your work, okay, to make sure that you have the right answers. All right. Before I move on, I'm going to ask the question again because nobody answered me. I asked a question about the screen, but I'm going to ask it in Spanish. I'm going to type it up in Spanish. Okay, ¿cómo estaba la imagen hoy? So please answer the question. I need to know so that we can make the product, the class better. We want to make this better, okay? So please let me know. It's important. All right. So now with that said, I'm gonna move on to a little bit. I want to show you about our website. I see a few people. I see that a few people have been on the website, and that's good. And then I have a few people doing classes, which is great. Yes, in the video. So that's great. I'm very happy that we have a few people there doing classes and trying things out. If you haven't done it yet, you should register to our website. Eventually, we're also going to be doing some other classes that are going to connect with the courses that are on the website. So you want to register, donde dice registro. Then when you register, you can go to Inicio and you can enter your information. And after that, you'll be able to see the courses, los cursos, okay? So you'll be able to look at those. And I'm going to show you some of the courses today very quickly. We'll be done in about 5 minutes or so. I'm going to show you a few of the courses today, and I'm going to tell you around what level they are, even though I think you should try all of them. It doesn't even matter if you're advanced. You're going to learn something from every single one because there's a lot of vocabulary there. But for advanced people that want to challenge, so you know what, I want something tough. I want to work. Well, if you want something that's a challenge, there's 2 courses on there that you can try. Bank visit and driving my car. Those are the courses that have the longest sentences and they have the higher level vocabulary, okay? So if you do those 2, you're going to get something pretty advanced there. And eventually I'm gonna do some classes online, some webinars just like this that's going to focus on the information in those classes. If you want something a little intermediate, they say, you know what, I don't want something so difficult. That's too much. I want something more in the middle. Hospital visit and movie theater are kind of in the middle. You have some medium-sized sentences, and you have some good vocabulary that you use a lot. I mean, movie theater has very specific vocabulary, but hospital visit has vocabulary that we know, cut, stitches, things like that. I mean, things, medicine, doctor, surgeon, a lot of words that we know, okay? You're gonna see 45 vocabulary words and then 45 more phrases there. And then if you want something very basic, shorter sentences, easier vocabulary, things that we use on a regular basis, like breakfast, lunch, dinner, stove, oven, or beach, tourist, things like that. My vacation and my kitchen are really good for that. They're pretty much beginner courses. But like I said, all of them are good. They take about, if you really work on it every single day, they take about 2 weeks. So it's about 2 weeks to go through them. If you have any questions, let me know. The other thing is the blog. So aside from these courses, aside from those 6 courses that we have, which can take you anywhere from 2 weeks to a month. If you work slowly, you can be there for a month. But if you work at a regular pace, 2 weeks, right? Aside from that, you can go to the blog. Now the blog, like I said before, because I've talked to you guys about the blog before, a lot of free content can be found in the blog. A lot of free content, and it's really good content. I'm actually going to put some new ones. I'm working on some new materials for the blog that you're going to see, and they're pretty advanced. You should try to look at everything in the blog before I put new material. There's seven things there. So you should probably try to look at everything in the blog before I look at new material. All right. So make sure you go through it, take notes. And if you want to ask me questions about the blog towards the end of these classes, you can also ask me questions. Okay. So that's it. That's the website right there.